should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
KG, you're either with me or you're not with me. And when Ray Allen went and signed with the Miami Heat, he's dead to him.
You can't pretend he wasn't on the team.
Number 34 in the Raptors. Former teammates in the crowd.
Ray Allen, not at the ceremony. That picture suggests, hey, I have better ways to spend my time.
No, to each his own.
His relationship with Rondo was not good.
In his new autobiography, Ray Allen says that Rajon Rondo told his teammates that he carried all of them to the championship in 2008.
Rondo isn't a fan of what he's hearing about the book, telling the Boston Globe, quote, he just wants attention. The only pub I've been hearing about is when he mentions my name.
If there is a peace process down the road, it may be
It may be pushed back a little bit farther.
Our next guest hasn't had an easy road since leaving the Celtics for the rival Heat, and his new book chronicles it all. He's the author From the Outside, My Journey Through Life and the Game I Love, a two-time NBA champion, future Hall of Famer. We welcome Ray Allen to the desk. So good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Even though you're a fellow Husky, I have to get out of the way for this one. But he's all sorts of fired up to have you.
I'm not, no, come on now. I'm just going to ask what I need to ask. We're not going back too long for that. Let's get right to it. You see the book From the Outside. How much does that title have to do with your relationship with your former teammates in Boston?
I would say probably.
Yeah, obviously.
When I left,
Will here.
It was clear.
Yeah, you can tell. Yes, I'm uploading this on Monday,
the
National Championship Day.
Their fold, so
filming this on.
A new contract.
Which was ready to go Thursday. Filming it on Monday. Should have done it Friday. I get that.
And you
got a lot of stuff on my plate.
Beach to join LeBron James, D. Wade, and the crew.
Because
offered you more money.
Because before you say the Miami Heat, it was about my negotiations with the Boston Celtics, which we started throughout that year. We wanted a contract throughout that whole year, and we wanted to make sure the three of us retired together. Mm-hmm. So, based on where I was as a player at that time, what my salary was, we knew I was going to take a pay cut. Mm-hmm. So, by the time the year came, they had signed everybody else contractually, and then when it came time to me, it was like, this is all we have left for you. But I knew what everybody in my position was making, so based on what I was asking for, what they were willing to pay me, it was like, we can't pay you that. We're not going to pay you that, even though they could have if they wanted to. So now we realize, hey, the relationship seemed like it's over. We had the LA Clippers, we had the Miami Heat, Memphis Grizzlies, and the Timberwolves on the table left for me potentially free agent-wise. Mm-hmm. So as we knew that the Boston relationship was over with, we had to figure out between these four teams where I was going to go. Mm-hmm. In that same day, the next day, Jamal Crawford, they actually thought that I was going to use them as leverage. I had to speak with Vinny Del Negro and say, listen, this is real. Like, we have to figure out where we're going to go.
The kind of guys that will look at a business decision like that and not personalize it. But it seems to be that there has been some personal animus that has existed since your departure. And if it were just about what you said, those are not the kind of guys that would have a problem with you for making that decision. There seems to be something else that comes along with it.
At what point do you vouch for my character?
I'm asking.
You look at me and you say all these things that I didn't do and this is who I was. Like, I've been good to the media my whole career. Sure. I've done everything that people have asked of me.
Yes, you have.
When it comes down to that scenario, just like anybody in sports knows, you have a deadline. July 1, when teams come up and they say, hey, we want to bring you in, and then you got July 2nd, 3rd, where you can start signing contracts, the chips are falling, the dominoes are falling.
I'm not questioning any of that.
But what I'm trying to tell you is, it gets to a point where, the situation happened with James Posey in 2008 after we won the championship. He signs with New Orleans, and it just happened just like that.
Right.
He was like, hey, I had this contract. We were at the ESPYs. He was like, I had this contract. I had to sign it, right, or else they were going to move in another direction.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Ray, is that everybody knows that you've always been class. Everybody knows that you've always been good people. So it was shocking to us, for example, when Boston played Miami, and Doc Rivers was cordial, and Paul Pierce was cordial, but Rondo or KG didn't even want to shake your hand or whatever. What I'm saying is it seemed to be an animus that was aimed in your direction from what you describe as a pure business decision. It didn't seem that way for those guys. How do you explain it?
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. The minute I leave, again, we had our issues. There's no question about that, but every team has their issues. We argue, we fight, we fuss. You know,
Max,
this
very last
person thinks
question. Do you think there was animus because you left? Or was it because you went and you joined LeBron and D-Wade in Miami, which were the enemy, the nemesis?
Well, let's put it like this. Who are the Boston Celtics rivals?
At that time, it was...
No.
Oh, period, the Lakers.
Right. So you can't say that they're the rivals. Like,
At that time, Ray, you could. At that
they're
time.
not rivals.
Ray, you won the title in 2008. LeBron comes there in 2010. They go to the finals, bro. They lose to Dallas, and then they get you.
You don't have to call
Who
it
are the Miami
rivals.
Heat rivals?
Well, I mean, at the time, I thought it was y'all.
The New York Knicks.
Oh, come on, not at that time.
Who are the Boston Red Sox rivals?
Hold on. Did you just bring up the Knicks with a straight face?
Yeah.
At that time, that Miller,
I'm
that
just
D-Wade
saying.
and LeBron were in Miami? The Knicks have been irrelevant since the late 90s?
I think Stephen A. is like getting carried away with his shtick lately.
Ray, I have a couple for you, but let's just start here.
He got it from me when he's getting carried away.
They were the primary threat in the East, yes?
Yeah, no.
You ever see me go over the
Okay,
top
so
like
they're
that?
mad about that. You're going to the team that presented the primary threat, and maybe you were even the balance of power considering your shooting ability.
The rest is history.
Ray, in the book,
You tell me what you would have done.
I'm
Ray,
going to
in-
tell you in a minute. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
book,
wanna
you
know.
I'm going to
described-
hide it
Yeah.
right here, Ray. I ain't going
Oh, you
nowhere.
got flip-flops up there. You wanna go flip-flops?
No problem.
In the book, you described KG as a teammate, as the teammate. But it seems that Rondo is, the real guy at odds here. If Rondo weren't on the team, you said he wasn't passing you the ball at certain points. If Rondo weren't on the team, would you have left Boston, do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, one scenario we talk about in the book. Most people were saying that, speculating on why I left. And everybody's like, I was mad that I was coming off the bench. And I was like, I loved Avery. Avery was great. There were moments where we got to the point where I was coming off screens and the ball was going another direction. And I knew what the play was. And I sat down with Doc and I was like, listen, I'm trying to make this work. I think the ball is going in another direction. We need to figure this out. And he goes, yeah, the coaches and I have talked about it. We need to figure something to do. So he said, why don't I just bring you off the bench for Rondo so you could play with Avery, middle through the first quarter. And I said,
Well, that says everything
but why
right
don't
there.
you just address
Don't
this?
forget, Rondo went to, never mind.
Like, 'cause I don't have any
Where
issue.
he
We
went to
just need
school,
figure
that
out
has
what
no
we do to
bearing.
win. So
Ray,
From the
if
OMSR's
Rondo was on the
perspective,
team, would you
being
think you would be
very anti-UK,
correct or
full
no? Like,
disclosure,
no Rondo, would you
that's
say
where
Rondo?
Rondo went to school.
again, that changes the dynamics. I don't know what would have happened contractually, how they would have felt. But what I will tell you, what I will tell you is that when we came into this scenario, I said, well, we need to do better at executing after coming out of timeouts that I didn't have. And I went to Doc and I said, what are we going to do? I went to Danny and I asked him to ask Doc, and he said, the ball is going to be where it's going to be, and that's how we're going to go
Here
moving
with
forward.
Ray Allen. Good to have you with us. Of course, your book out now on shelves. We will let Max pick it up, though. Take it away, my friend.
Go ahead, Matt.
Ray, I think you've articulated well why you made the decision you did. What I would like to ask you about is Paul Pierce's jersey retirement ceremony. You were golfing that day, and in those circumstances, usually the rule of thumb is even if you don't feel unwanted, maybe you show up for the other guy because it's about them. What happened there, and how do you feel about it now?
Well, I felt extremely bad that I wasn't there. How that happened, it was so interesting because, first of all, I wasn't invited. It was totally outside of the orb. I know everybody was talking about it, and that was what it was.
That was my only criticism. I
Yeah.
thought you should have been there.
Yeah, and so, so much has been said about, or talked about, with what was going on with us and how I wasn't invited here and I wasn't invited there. So, at no point did anybody reach out to me and say, we would love for you to be here. I had a scheduled appearance, with a Chinese company that I had to be out in LA that was scheduled 2 months in advance. So I knew nothing, honestly, about, his jersey retirement. So when I was in LA, it was interesting. I was playing golf with George Lopez, and I would have never posted anything because I didn't even know that it was happening at the time that it was happening because it was 12 o'clock on the West Coast. George Lopez happens to hit a hole-in-one, and I was excited for him, and I posted a picture, and then I realized, while this was happening at the same time that Paul was getting his jersey retired in the Garden, I knew nothing of it.
Got it. Let me get back to a bigger issue. You talked about the when you were in negotiations and you're talking to agents and what have you.
Quit smoking.
Text KG,
I wholeheartedly recommend it for any of you out there smoking.
Once it was learned that they
I got a method there if you want to email me.
Did KG, Paul
You don't need Nick Red or any of the other
Then I'm a
stuff.
traitor all of a sudden.
Who tweeted that?
I'm not gonna call them out, but I just know who and I remember who it was because I've learned don't speak on somebody else's business in this game because everybody makes their own decisions for their own reasons. We all have families. That's what I don't understand is like for another player in this league to say, oh, it was wrong that you went there. Like we don't criticize another player because we know what it means to do what we need.
So you feel, Ray Allen feels, he's been wrong as opposed to you thinking you did them wrong?
Say that again?
Do you feel that you are the one that has been wrong in terms of the relationship with the players? I'm not talking about the negotiations. I'm not talking about the Celtics. I'm talking about KG, Kendrick Perkins, Paul Pierce, Rondo. You believe you have been wronged as opposed to them feeling like they've been wronged by you?
First of all, Kendrick Perkins wasn't even on the team when I left. So he doesn't.
Which OKC?
It's not about right and wrong. You know, we're talking about signing a contract to go to another team. Like, why is there right and wrong? I went and won a championship. Why are people telling me?
And beat them to do it.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that you beat your old boys to do it.
No, we didn't play the playoffs.
No, you're right. It was before the game. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Why do I have to apologize for doing something that I was supposed to do? When we get drafted into this league, they tell us, do you have goals of winning the championship? That's our mission. That's our goal. Where we end up, we're fortunate to be with a team that shares the same mindset. The players share the same mindset to want to come out and believe in the process every single day. That's been my mission forever. I've done it. I tried it in Milwaukee, I failed. Tried it in Seattle, I failed. Won in Boston, and then ultimately going to Miami.
Just to be clear, so they're salty, you're not.
James Posey, Big Baby, PJ Brown, Sam Cassell, everybody was important. Scott Pollard, like it was all of us, and we were all involved, and that's what I wanted people to know. It wasn't just the three of us, and we all shared something special. I know each one of their kids. Every time I see them, I know their wives. So when I talk about them, I always say it in respect to Brandy and to Julie. All the people that we spend time with.
Appreciate your honesty. We can get more, of course, from this, from The Outside, My Journey Through Life in the Game I Love, Ray Allen's book, available.
I'm buying it.
Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you. Coming up, last season.